Right, guys, I'm gonna bring that to, as I say in church, bring that to a close. Sorry, guys, I sound like I've been around for a few years in church anyway. So, yeah, but this is Roger Moore here on Affinity Xtra. We're here on the Edge Show, and I'm gonna light up. Well, this track was called Voice of God, and it is done by Dante Barry. If you like this vibe, still, yeah, do check it out. You know, it's a good vibe anyway. Still, you know, this is where it goes. I must admit, as much as I like the bingy banger bass lines and all this business, I do kind of reach out for a bit of tribal and that, you know what I mean, in the morning, you know, just get in that vibe anyway. Still, yeah. But listen, guys, it's time to get edgy. So can I line up Mr. JC Henry? Yeah, bro, can you shout out for us to see if we got you on?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh,
you good?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, bro. Yeah, man. You can hear me good as well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, still right. So, first and foremost, bro, yeah, I asked this question just to establish the cultural where I'm going to go. Do you have rice and peas or jollof rice on Sunday?
Well, it's rice and peas, isn't it?
Yeah. Yo, he said it like it was like, why ask, mate? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, I have to be political.
Do you know what? So I do like a good jollof rice though, don't get me twisted. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a good jollof rice. Wow, but a good jollof rice is amazing. But you're asking me on a Sunday, what do I have? I have rice and peas.
Rice and peas. All right. Just to let you know, bro, that London, I know is more mixture. Up here, bro, it's a Badlands, man. We still have rice and peas no matter what, man. Jollof rice, I'm like, you guys get force fed, man. Yo, you know what I'm saying? You guys got that choice. We just rice and peas all day long, bro. Still up here, rice and peas, dumpling, and that's how we do it, bro. But that's great. So we can start talking about rice and peas and chicken. But anyway, moving away from food. We're gonna really want to dice this up. I have to first and foremost salute you in what you have produced, and I've just ended up on my tape, but like I bumped into this about a week or so ago, and I looked at this cover, and covers kind of pick out my, you know, when it comes to artwork. I said before, as somebody who's in the art world, I kind of like go, that looks a very usually you see someone's big head on it or something statement on it, and I thought, let's have a look at this, man. And I saw the UT logo. I was like, oh, okay, it's like that. Press play. And I thought, all right, this is what's going on. And I spoke to one of my colleagues, and obviously the guy's connected with yourself still, bro. And I have to salute you. And it's correct me if I'm saying it's right or wrong, but it's the collective's called Salient Sound.
Correct.
Yeah. And the track's called Stand, and I always emphasize the importance of positive music. If you don't want to call it gospel, positive music, encouraging us to get up on our feet, and I do appreciate that done by young people. Absolutely fantastic, bro. And the presentation, the delivery, I have to salute you straight away on that one still, yeah, before we get into the fun of the conversation and really done, because I have bumped into some opposite works, and I will moan about that and groan about that. So I have to salute.
It's something good.
You know what I'm saying? It's a problem, because you have to keep on this level, bro. And you know, and sometimes people don't recognize this, and you just kind of slack off, and you don't realize that it's important to deliver things on a level because it raises attention. Yeah. So there's a lot of MP3s that come into my into my inbox. Yeah, and I'm terrible. Yeah, absolutely terrible with it. And it's these minds what artists don't realize. It's relationships, because you got to make that phone call. Yo, have you checked the emails? Oh, there it is. You know what I'm saying? It's literally that. You know what I mean? So artists, don't feel like we're not trying to listen to your music. You just need to have relationship to get us to open it up. You know. So fantastic work there, bro. You know, absolutely fantastic. Now, I was a bit controversial because it's just the Edge Show, and I know I dumped on the Edge Show straight away on Affinity Xtra because I like to, yes, we want to talk about the product, but we want to talk about the journey, what the culture, and what's going on around it now. So we're gonna play Salient Sound track with it, and we're gonna come out of this interview before everyone says, "Oh, Roger, what does it sound like?" I've played it on the show before, but I'm gonna play it at the end so we can get a vibe of it anyway. Still say, "Okay, cool, that's cool, that's where it goes." Now, let's go back to where it all started for yourself there, bro. Right, I'm assuming, are you born bred church young boy?
Yeah. I was born in the church. My God.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And no, there's nothing wrong with that still. So, when did you buck into this singing thing? Being able to sing. How did it all happen for you yourself?
So, okay, it's. I'm trying to think where I can start from. I think I can probably bring it all the way back home, where I've got an older sister. Her name's Carolyn Henry, and I've got a twin sister called Priscilla Henry.
Okay.
Me and my twin, we were probably kind of mess around singing. My oldest sister, Carolyn, she's an amazing singer. She still sings now. I was like backing vocals for like artists like Loreen Cato and Isaiah and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think but earlier on, so I'm probably, I don't know, 10, 11, I would be like inquiring to my older sister, like, how do you harmonize and stuff like that.
Okay, it's like that. Yeah.
Teach us how to harmonize. And I remember, so Carolyn, she showed me and my sis one time, like on the top of the stairs, how to harmonize. So she was like, you sing this and Priscilla sings this, and we done like our 3-part harmony. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And I don't know, it just made sense. Like for some reason, just the whole harmony arrangement. And so I've always kind of been musically inclined to like, I grew up on the whole Fred Hammond's, Yolanda Adams, like Winans Commission, like, you know what I mean? Like just that whole typical kind of gospel sound. So I think subconsciously I've always had music in my ears, melodically anyway. Without really understanding the full context of what the songs are. But kind of like to fast forward into things, I was kind of forced into singing a little bit. So one, she's like a mum to me. You know, she's like my second mum. Her name's Lydia Lewinson, and she essentially forced me and my twin sister to do duet stuff.
Okay, so, cool.
Yeah. So we'd sing songs like in our church, and we got invited to other churches to sing together. And at that time, I didn't really think I could sing. Like I was just that typical guy that wanted to play drums and make noise in church kind of thing. So you know what I mean? I grew up in that whole kind of drumming was all I wanted to do.
Cool.
Which is typical, innit? And I think just as I grew up with my twin, just doing singing and stuff, I was like, you know what? I think maybe I can actually sing. Like, you know, thanks to like my second mom, Lydia, like she actually gave me the confidence to sing.
Okay.
It became a thing. So from on the back of that, I started like a singing group called Barak Ministries, and I had like my friends and family. So I think the other day we were talking about my friend Dexter, he's a drummer. So I grew up with Dex. We all went to the same church in Lee, New Testament Church of God. So I had like Dexter and my cousins Gavin and Aaron Powell, and like Jason Archer, and like there's a whole bunch of us that kind of grew up together. And then we had the singers, so like myself and my sister and our friends from church. So we started just singing around. And so fast forward to like when we're like late teens, I think eventually, we kind of stopped singing as much, and things became more gig focused. And when I say that, I'm talking still in church, but it's like the focus became more about artistry. So instead, and this is where it gets really kind of interesting, how the understanding of ministry, but in the gig context. So I grew up with Matthew Allen and CC. And then you had Courtney with King's Ministry. And so we were actually kind of going up and down the country. And then you had at that time you had New Year as well. Literally, and so we all kind of started around the same time. We were just young people traveling around the country doing gigs, and it was a great time. It was a time when, like for yourself, I think that's when I first came across or maybe this was just before GL360 as far as I was aware. But it's like around this time, there was loads of events happening. So you had like the restoration and all of that with other Jermaine, J-Man. So it was there was loads of events happening around that time. I think I went to university and basically stopped doing gigs. I stopped doing like events and stuff like that because I just wanted to focus. on my degree, and then when I finished that, I literally went straight into work. I started working for the BBC, and so I stopped doing literally every gig for like almost like 6-7 years straight. And so just before I went to university, I was working with my friend Jake. So Jake Isaac, I think that was probably one of the last things I was doing
I Change.
I Equals Change.
I Equals Change, that's it. Yeah.
We brought out an album, so I wrote a couple songs with Jake on that. It was fantastic, and Jake's like my big bro, and he kind of really brought me around. At that time I was kind of understudying with Noel Robinson and some other guys, so it's like I've always kind of been around on the gospel circuit a little bit. But I think as I grew up, I kind of distanced myself from doing any kind of gig stuff. I just wanted to focus on my career, and that's really kind of how things kind of transitioned, because whilst that was going on, I think the gospel scene really kind of changed. You know, things kind of, and I don't know if the word died down is probably the most politically correct way to say it, but
just say it, bro. It did. It's like a golden era came to an end, bro. Because because ultimately, just to reiterate what you've been saying, I think that people don't like I was doing like GR Live, and I remember because obviously I was working with guys in London when I was doing GR Lives, and when I was doing the shows like The Truth, Lecrae, and all these guys coming in, and I was hearing in the corner, I was starting to see, and I was concerned about the singers, because the rap guys kind of like moved forward kind of quickly, you know what I mean, and then because you had at one stage Green Jade, Isaiah, and all them guys had their little zone, and then all of a sudden the new wave came in, which was like the Governors and the Triple O's, the Bible crew came in, and then the singers got marginalized, because when I was doing shows and trying to book people, I'm like, where's the singers at? And then, like you said, the Matthew Allen, CC, King's Ministries, like yourself and Jake Isaac started to coming through like a resurgence with that, and then crash bang wallop. You know what I mean? It just crashed. There's many theories on that still, by the way. the big bang theory. But again, it's a cycle which is continually being repeated. Life catches up with people, and if we don't learn to monetize and business and really bring a business element to this, that it's unsustainable models. And there's only so much people can do if you gotta take care of family. And sometimes you gotta like you said, you have to focus on your career, and that's what it is, you know what I mean? But to say it as it is, bro, the scene just did. I always say, after when would you say that was about? We're in 2020 now, around about 2014, 13, round about there, innit?
So 2013 was the year I think we did I Equals Change. And I think, ironically, you got the GL360 video stuff that's still up from those times. Like,
oh, shame, yeah. Oh,
2000, yeah, 2000.
Shame. Yeah.
I think, when myself and Jake, we did the Manuel down at the Rock, you had an event down there. And after we brought out the album, then going into 2014, things basically changed. And figured out, and you know what I mean. So the whole dynamic of the gospel scene in the country, and when I say that, I think maybe I'm speaking very biasly from the gospel worship scene.
Okay.
And when we say worship, I'm talking about like you're talking about singers and all of that, because you have to remember there's still the governors still been around
doing his thing.
Doing his thing even now, and you've got Triple O, and he's got a Mobo since then, and you've got Faith Child still around. So I think from the rap scene, there's still certain artists that are still present. But from a praise and worship perspectives, it's not really, it's nowhere near what it used to be.
Yeah. Got you. It's kind of scary, but the rappers have basically moved. Some of them have been able to transition. Look at SO. Remember, SO was like it was like the understudy coming through all them years, and all of a sudden, if anything, he does more units than any other rapper on the scene. Absolutely crazy. But I must admit, as I said, we had a giggle about it before. I saw this. See, he's got this young guy called JC Henry on the stage. This skinny little red skin dude on the stage, man. You know what I mean? Seeing, I was like, it's something's gonna come out soon with this dude. You know, just before the whole crash. You know what I mean? Whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, where has he gone? You know, and for ages, bro, I've been like, I didn't know he was from UT, bro, because I could have easily made a few calls into that one. I was like, where did it? Is this from one of the CCs in London? Is it Ilford CC or? so
Born and bred UT, man.
UT. When I said UT, I said, are you sure he's from UT? Is there any young men left? Anyway, so UT people, yeah, you got a few left. But no, absolutely fantastic. So okay, so we're gone on this whole cycle. Now you're resurfacing back up into music now, and you came out coming up with, what was your passion bringing the young people together now in singing? So that's kind of weird for me, because you could have just dropped a solo R&B album, you know what I mean, straight up now, you know what I mean, get you know, just look fresh and put yourself in the front cover and just go for it. So what on earth got you now to go with getting people together?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, so right now, it's essentially coming from the National Youth Worship Team in New Testament Church of God.
Cool.
We've got amazing singers and musicians in the whole of our organization. And what's been happening, even though I've been absent from the gospel scene, which no longer really is a scene anymore, but during that time, I was still part of the National Youth Worship Team. And over the past 2 years, I'm leading the National Youth Worship Team with my brother Jonathan Mongi. And you know, with that, our focus has now shifted from just doing the annual youth conventions that they did, totally now branded the worship team, transition it into becoming an artist group, which now brings the focus of, well, because we've got songs for myself being a songwriter, Mongi's a fantastic songwriter, that we've got songwriters within the group. And across the whole of the national church, like, there's so many amazing songwriters out there within our body, but what we've never had is our own album. We've never had any product coming out of New T other than, I think, The Rock brought out an album like 8 years ago, but on a national level, nothing's ever come out. And we're talking about the times when you had like great people like Ian Pitter and whatnot. Like, there's been key people in the organization have amazing voices, amazing giftings, but unfortunately haven't actually released anything as a product to show anything for it. So you know, now it's like, well, it's time. You know, that's the bottom line. You're asking why now, is because now's the time, you know. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time.
No, bro, there's some amazing points that I've kind of noted down. You said a couple points now. Something that I fully recognize, the fact that basically there's been no product from the generation before us. Yeah, and I would say I'm the baby. I'm like the in-betweener. Yeah, ain't nobody. You know, I call it the wipeout generation. I'm almost like a rare species. Somebody in the mid-40s. Yeah, but the reality show is that, you know, and I'll call it out as it is. We've had some talented. When I say talented, bro, internationally level artists, musicians. But when you really look at it, yeah, and we have to salute the likes of Highgate Gospel Choir and a couple local choirs. I know in the Midlands perspective, there's a couple of trailblazers as well in London in terms of doing their own products and whatever. But to think of all that talent we had collectively in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and actually have to scrape the barrel, do research, have to phone head office, they ain't got no information, you have to phone everyone, you know what I mean, you have to search hard, and then you have to find somebody who left church 55 years ago, stuck in America, just to get the last copy. And it's like, hold on a second. And then people thinking, Roger, how do you know this? It's a fact. You know what I mean? I've tried to search this information, and it's something which somebody pulled out to me. It was important that the Levites in Bible times recorded the songs. You know what I'm saying? You know, and an expression. Now, I'm going to pull on this point now, because you guys now have written your own songs, something that we don't do now. There's a bit of a and you're coming from a younger person perspective. Now I've been working with some of the older guys, and they're like the hymns, and they're like the certain sound of, you know, influenced by reggae. And I'm not saying you don't like reggae at all, you know what I'm saying, but like myself, bro, there's, you know, I only can take, you know what I mean, a bit of pepper. I don't mind a bit of reggae seasoning, but I can't listen to it all night long, you know. You know, as much as I love my reggae sauce, but you know, it's only good for sauce. But anyway, but your sound is very much influenced. Now the sound that I heard on Salient Sound, now I purposely played the Dante Barry track beforehand, because I'm not saying you copied that sound, but it's a sound which I'm hearing more now, which sometimes people say, oh, them young people, they sound like Hillsong too much or whatever they're still, yeah. But for me, if you really break down the track and the way the person is singing and coming across, it's not actually, it's more black than what they think it is, if you know what I'm saying. Now, in terms of the sound that you have, what was in your mindset in terms of creating the sound? Was it a sound to identify to a type of journey, or is it a sound that you feel that is relevant for this generation coming through now?
I think so. In terms of the sound that we produce when we write, I'll speak for myself on this. I don't write songs thinking in advance that I want this song to sound like X. I'm literally just expressing the melodies I hear in my head,
cool,
the words I receive in my head, and all of that.
Yeah,
it's just an expression of how I feel, what I am, like all of that. And what I think is really important for probably part of this conversation and for people to understand is that my generation, because I'm still relatively young, only 30 years old, like there's those that's like, you know, Gen Z or whatever, like I'm a millennial, however you want to phrase this. But the bottom line is, we being born in this country are aware of, and if you're saying from a Caribbean perspective, we've got our Caribbean roots and our Caribbean history, so we know the sound of the hymns, we know the sounds of the choruses, but also we're able to be more eclectic in terms of our sound and influences, because we've got the hip-hop, we've got the R&B, we've got, like, I'm a bit weird, I love listening to classical music and jazz and old school 80s funk and all of that. Like, I don't differentiate between genres. I like good music. I just good music. So it's like, in general, for me to write something, it's just an expression of my eclectic sound, you know. So and I feel like that's a representation of my generation in general. So where we could write choir music, we can also write the Hillsongy, you're saying the airy fairy kind of, you know, let's all sing around. You said it, bro. Airy fairy. You know, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. But like, we're more diverse than to just put us in a box. You know, so when you say it sounds like, or it could sound very similar to what Dante's done, or like in terms of what Hillsong previously have done. The reason, and this, I think this is also an important point, I was just having a brief conversation about it, that the reason why our sound probably references a lot of like probably some Hillsong stuff is because Hillsong's been the most consistent. So remove Hillsong from this country completely, what worship or praise and worship songs would we be singing that was released within the last 20 years?
This is the pop. Well, you just raised the problem right there. You know, come on, yeah. There's only like from a there's a couple people who've done a few projects, but really and truly, bro, the only consistent dude has been Noel Robinson. Yeah, you got Noel. You got Roger and Sam brought out something that was it 03? I can't remember what year it was. Sorry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Like previously you had the likes of Roger and Sam, fantastic album where we've got songs like Beyond the Veil and all of that. Like so many amazing songs on that album. But in terms of praise and worship, there hasn't been any main artist that's reached, not just, and I'm talking about internationally, as in like the songs come out here, it's gone out. You know, like there hasn't been that whole kind of consistency. So and then we're talking about one project. So since Roger and Sam brought that out, there hasn't been a follow-up album that's come from that.
in terms of Noel Robinson, he's been consistent, but then his sounds changed from what was originally the, you know, early noughties or whatever. You know, like things have changed. That's a whole different conversation. And he can defo talk to you about that if you haven't spoken to him about it already.
He's just like, just call me, man. He's ready. So, he's ready. You
know, the bottom line is we are basing our influence on what has been the most consistent and the most in our space. You know,
that's true.
So we can complain. As in church. And older generations, because I think there was this conversation that happened on or I was informed there was this conversation that happened on Facebook like last week or a couple of weeks ago, talking about we need the older sounds, like I need music with a Hammond on it and all that kind of stuff. As in like, you know, we don't want to do all this whole Hillsongy stuff, like this whole it's too white kind of sound. And I'm like, you know, I hear what you're saying, but what is that? Because like there hasn't been anything that reflects what you're talking about. Maybe because music's changed. Maybe because things have moved on. Like, for example, you could say back in the day, you would have the likes of, I was going to say Shirley Caesar.
You got Clark Sisters, you got, you know, Milton Brunson Choir, all them guys coming through.
You've got that. But then Clark Sisters, they've got Kiki, as in Kira Shared. Kira Shared can do the Clark Sisters, but she can also do more
R&B.
You know, and then you've got Jacqueline Carr. She could probably do Shirley Caesar, but she can also do 2020, 2021. You know what I mean? As in like, music's transition. We pay homage to what the sound has been and what it was, but music evolves. You know, so I wouldn't say for us as, you know, Black Caribbeans or just Black people in this country right now, completely neglect our traditional sound, but our sound is to evolve. You know, our sound is to stay contemporary, or at least to stay relevant. So, and because we're listening to and we're influenced by so many different genres and so many different types of music, we can't just confine this into a box and say, that's you're meant to sound like this. We're not meant to sound like anything. We're meant to sound like whatever we sound like, and that's that.
And it's not to go back and say we can change what's happening in time. Just imagine, bro, you say about Hillsong influence, and God bless Hillsong. Yo, guys, you do your thing, man. Do your thing, yeah? Imagine now if we had assembled properly in the 80s and 90s, invested in our own writers, and then where would we be now? So half the time, you know, bro, the people that are moaning about the sound are the people that's got guilty trips. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's called projection. It's called you're moaning at the kids for something that you should have done, you should have sorted out and done yourself. So stop moaning at the kids. They're picking up the thing, because I salute you in terms of collectively, in terms of really moving forward. And for me, bro, like I said, everyone enjoys the sound in kind of puts out the sound. I grew up in a non-black area, and you know, I couldn't let my friends know that I like red hot chili peppers. You mad? You know what I mean? I get stoned at church if they found out I listen to Richard and Jamiroquai. It's like, huh? You know what I mean? Incognito and all these guys, you know what I mean, back in the, you know, like you can't. And I think that, you know, we just need to kind of move forward, move on, and kind of like, you know, embrace this. But one thing that's kind of, you guys, it's not a new sound. It's you guys are producing your sound of your generation. Now, we've got to back you. Yeah. Now, for me, backing you is not what's happening right now. And that's just being frank. Now, how I see backing a sound, backing songwriters. Now, this is the extremity, guys, you know, and so please, just, I'm going to talk from a gospel idea, there's an ideal world, yeah, but ultimately, if you're in a particular church, it's nothing on UT, but just looking in general, because this doesn't happen in the UK. It happens in America, but it doesn't happen in the UK. Imagine, no, it does happen in the UK, but not in many churches. Paid songwriters to sit down there and write psalms, sit down there, work on the sound, sit down there and develop and invest. So that's the one extreme. And invest in terms of distribution of the music, invest in terms of getting it out on platforms, on the marketing, invest so we can get this sound in there. Say to the whole church within a sphere of influence to sing these songs, get into the CC, you know what I mean, get people singing it, get people out there. All of that's one extreme. That's the perfect scenario. I feel that you guys are on the other extreme of just straight firefighting, and it hurts me because I look back and as much as I'm still doing elements of that now, I look back and thinking, how on earth are we doing the same thing that I had to fight with when I was your age? Yeah. And I'm like, what has been built? You know what I'm saying? So, bro, am I wrong, or is that what you're fighting right now? Because for me now, this is evidence now. And before they could, shh, don't say this on radio, don't tell nobody what the struggles are. But I'm like this, you know what, guys? You can try and shut me down, you can't because YouTube, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But we just want to really give the real picture of the stress and strains of bringing out this product, birthing pains.
I think with all transparency, I think the most challenging thing is really having, because there's no infrastructure or system that's set up in place. And I know you touched on the point regarding previous generations where there wasn't this whole setup. And we can talk about legacy and we can talk about those things, but there's this gap of information, there's this gap of knowledge, and we've got to remember, we're coming from a time frame where back in the early 90s and stuff, you had gospel music on BBC, you know,
for real.
You know, we forget that gospel music was actually quite prevalent in this country, you know, and I'm talking about choirs were singing on TV, bro. Man. That transition from there to where things are left now is like, well, things were good for back then, but there was no passing of the baton. There was no transition. Yeah. And so it's like we're literally picking things up from ground zero and trying to build this thing up again. And in terms of the struggle of that, well, because there's no infrastructure, it's like, well, we're trying to just build momentum. And so specifically for, you could argue even this, the project I'm talking about with my worship team, Salient Sound, it's like having the support of even just our own church. It's like we have to create a system where we can get this out. You know, how can we get the churches to sing our own music? You know, because again, we go back to Hillsong. I love Hillsong. I've got friends at Hillsong. Yeah, don't get this wrong.
Yeah, I got people, man, same. Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but I know their success is because their church believes in what they're doing. You know, it's in like Hillsong. We know it as a sound. That's how successful they are. You know, Hillsong's a church. You know, Hillsong's a church. But because the church believes in their sound and what the influence of worship has on the culture, they've invested heavily and they've built an infrastructure and an ecosystem for what they believe in. And until we believe and rate ourselves, we're just fighting ghosts. You know, so like, so we can praise this project. So everyone that hasn't done it yet, go and buy, keyword buy, go and buy the single, Stand, search Salient Sound on whatever, whether it's iTunes or Amazon Music, go and search that and buy the thing. Because I promise you, until we rate ourselves and invest in ourselves, we're just having conversation. And that's why you're saying you're fighting we're fighting the same things that you were fighting 20 years ago or 30 years ago. It's because we just haven't clocked into the ecosystem. We haven't clocked into building the infrastructure. And to be honest with you, senior leaders, until they really invest into what we really need and believe in from a worship point of view, and building product and getting that out there, until they invest in that,
we're struggling.
We're having a great conversation, and we're going to have the same conversation in 5 years and 10 years.
And there's a battle right now. There's a conversation that's kind of like stirring up, which is, does the church have a responsibility towards, when I say gospel music, I'm talking about black produced music. As a black church, got a responsibility. I always say to people this: they're happy to reap the harvest, which is maintenance of the young people in church, and happy for us to get our hands dirty out there and go and do you did tours, bro. You went around the place. I got to see what you guys were doing. You go into places, you're blessing young people. You're making the gospel palatable for young people. yeah, and they're not listening to. I'm not saying they're chatting bad, but they're not listening to another level. You are interpreting Christianity. So how on earth have you got no interest into the people that translate the truth to people without the truth? How you got no investment in that, but yet you want people to come in, pay the big up to it? Just doesn't, economically, it doesn't make sense to me, bro. You know what I mean? And I get why they don't do it. Yeah, I don't know if it's personal struggles, like control. We don't have no control when they're doing this. Oh, they need to be doing this only in our church. All these control issues out there. Sorry, but I feel that as well, the elder musicians probably see this sound as a scary sound as well, bro. When I heard it first, the first two bars, I was like, whoa. When he said new T, I'm expecting, the drum 1, 2, 3, 4, so it was total opposite. I went, whoa. I was like, but end of the day, so yeah, people have to really be relevant to what needs to be relevant, and I feel that you raised some extreme points there, and I think now is time where everyone's down tools in terms of performance wise. And here's one for yourself, bro. The problem is, when I was a kid coming through, I was a young promoter. I was like, I was 16, 17. Usually, I always say this, promoters are usually bald-headed guys who are 45, used to sing, and they start doing their promotion game, yeah? Fortunately, I realized due to certain reasons I weren't going to be singing, and I played bass but only at church, so I got into promotions very young. But I had a load of closed doors. Nobody wanted to open the door for me, yeah? And I find that there's a generation, I'll call them out, I says, yo, dudes, like, only one person said, Roger, come, I'll teach you. One person, yeah? As for the rest of them, it's called locking doors. And we had opportunities in the 80s and the 90s. We were there on the stage. But ask yourself, how many of them actually opened the door, or did they walk through the door and lock it behind? And the reason why I'm saying this is not to have a moan, but something to say to me and you now, right now, to recognize that we are forever keeping the door open, bro, for the next generation. Because the only thing that's going to change is when we change from not do what people before us, bro. Because it's very easy to shut the door behind us and say, yo, I got this gig, man. This is me for the next 50 years, man. I'm locking this down. And that's what's happened. And the push towards the next generation has been really poor. You know what I'm saying? And we've got to open the doors, bro. It's got to open it. Now, in terms of the real talk, in terms of financially as well, bro, let's keep it real, man. One of the things that you wanted to do, you know what I mean? But the process of producing such a great sounding product, and it's got live instrumentation on it as well. I'm going, okay, that's studio time. That's work. You know what I mean? How was that process? If people going, Roger, why are you touching bass? Yo, guys, you have to realize, just recording, getting it mixed and making it sound good is not an easy process, bro. So how do you do that without a blank check?
Bro, I don't know if I can even answer that question, because
blessings.
If I answer it, I might get in trouble. If I answer it, I might, because it'll follow up lead on questions that I may not be able to answer.
That's cool.
But what I can say is yeah, and it's so, because everything is first of all, before I even jump on this, I want to say, just going back, that the people before us, and when I say us in terms of for myself, because I'm in a unique position where it's like there have been previous worship leaders for our church that deal with this ministry, and they've been they're legends in our eyes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic work. And everything that they've done has allowed us to build from that.
Brilliant.
And even even the generation that we could argue, probably dropped a baton regarding the passing of knowledge from where we were doing the whole TV gigs to no longer doing those gigs in that kind of way. But at the same time, it probably dropped for us. But you got to remember, you've got Kingdom Choir that was doing TD Jake's church a couple of weeks ago. It's not the end. It's
good.
You know what I mean? There are certain certain key transitions that in order for us to really become the industry that we ought to have and be part of, there has to be some passing over of knowledge. There has to be that transition that didn't take place, and it's the onus now is on our generation to ensure that the next generation is set up in a certain way, which gives me more of a drive to do certain things. But at the same time, I believe I'm on an assignment with my team to literally release this sound. There's a sound that we have that the world needs to hear.
Good.
So it's like there's dual objectives there. But in terms of the funding, yeah, you're right. Nothing's free. Going in studio is not free. Mixing, mastering is not free. Artwork, not free. If we're going to be specifically honest about this project, like I literally funded the whole thing. I designed the whole thing, and the studio that we recorded in was literally through our producer, and he's been so generous and helped us. All of that, you know what I mean? It's literally been all hands on deck, because without that kind of
love, man, you know what I mean? Straight love.
Yeah, without the love for what we do in our ministry and what we do as a service unto God, I promise you this would never happen. Because again, it goes back. There is no infrastructure. There's no onus, and this is coming from the top down, really. And don't get it twisted. I'm not even just talking about so much. This is the Pentecostal church.
Yeah, bro.
Black
this is not,
this isn't new. This has been going on for years. This is way beyond me. I'm just inherent in this politics. You know what I mean? So it's like, the truth is, until certain mentalities change of what's actually important and how we can change our strategy of evangelizing and bringing the gospel out, then Anyway, so what I will say is the love that the team has, the love, that the producer. So Isaiah Yard, he's an incredibly gifted musician and producer.
Wow.
And working in studio with him, for me, I'm writing songs with him. For me, is one of the easiest things I could do.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean?
No, salute Isaiah, and just shout out some of the names that's the guys. Shout them out, bro. Shout them.
And tell me to shout out, because I'll go on forever. But just being working with Isaiah has been amazing, and he's got such a heart for this ministry, and just because he believes in it. And I think that's the most important thing. If you believe in something, you put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? You invest in what you believe. So it's for people that believe in what we're trying to do, they will invest in it. Do the sound that we want to release, the message that we're trying to share. That's what you do. You invest in what you believe. And so we're going back into this whole conversation about Hillsong. They invest in their own because they believe in their own, and that is it. And
how on earth? Oh, it's like we come bro, I listen to your product, man, and I've done products in the past, when I did Gospel Link magazine, bro, and people compare it against secular counterparts, and they say, yo, this is as good, if not better. It's amazing what we do, the resourcefulness of God's people, of black people in this country, the resourcefulness that we do to release a product at the quality of invested in products out there. We compete well above what we get invested into us. We are so creatively amazing, and
I think that's part of the problem.
I was gonna say, is that a good or bad thing, man? I'm like,
it's familiarity,
Content.
And we're so used to it. We're so used to
it's painful, man.
That it's so easily accessible to us. Sometimes the most valuable things are least noticed because it's just so easily accessible. Unfortunately, that might be the case as you're kind of alluding to, but it's not the case for me. I know the value of
yeah. No, it's 100% straight. Now, something that I would want to put out to people out there, and the importance, as you mentioned, about buying this product. Streaming is amazing, guys. You know what I mean? But buying the products, encouraging your church to sing on Zoom this song, get to know the song, start singing it on Zoom, and get in that culture of singing the track, buying the track out there. Now, somebody said to me the other day, I ain't buying a product just because it's done by my people. Okay, cool, we understand that, but if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. Well, this product is actually good enough quality wise. So I understand. So it's not a quality issue. But we need the actual people. Now, I saw a change back in when I was a young kid. 18 years when I was 18 years old in the 90s, early 90s and so on like that. There was just a culture of everyone coming together, and going to events. Because that was the only place to socialize in certain concepts. That was a place of social centers. Over the years, because you weren't allowed to be doing this, you weren't allowed to be doing that. Now we're allowed to do almost everything, as long as God ain't convicted you. You're just cool. You can go, you know what I mean. You can go raving the night before church, and it's all good. Anyway, don't get myself in trouble there. But anyway, you know what I mean. But everyone's cool with just a free life. You can go pub and just chill. You can go Nando's and all these things. Yes, I said it, but we all know that happens. People naturally don't back. I remember I did GR Live, bro. Never forget this. It was Mali Music. You know what I'm saying? You was there, you know what I'm saying? That was a cool GR Live, that was. And somebody said, Roger, sorry, I can't bring my young people. I says, why is that? Because they went to see JLS on the same day. Now, back in the day, is that you couldn't do them things, but I saw a sea change of people had options now, and we don't naturally push to back our own. And it's a long way of saying that we come to a culture now which almost has a choice whether to back things of God, not only just Christian things. We're not picking from one area, they're picking from all over. So as a promoter, I'm not only competing against other Christian events, I'm competing against John Legend coming to town. I'm competing against all so much other things. So for me now, you're looking at the church now, you're singing your songs going, yo, stand, and you're looking at everyone right there, and what are you going to be listening to when you get home? You know what I'm saying? You're not just going to be listening to worship, you're going to be listening to all sorts. There's a culture that needs to change for us back to support and listen to and see the importance of listening to Christian music, full stop. Christian supporting that. But I don't know for yourself, but and we both listen, man, we both listen to secular music. This is not like don't listen to secular music, but I feel that there's a culture of only in a bit on a Sunday. Growing up, I'm sure that Winans, gospel artists. You knew as you're going through. You ask the young people these days, who is your favorite gospel artist? They'll say, "Oh, Fred Hammond." You look at them going, "Really?" You know what I'm saying? That's who your mom and dad listen to. That's who your grandma listens to. Do you find that around yourself? Just people just not on it like they used to be when it comes to Christian music.
What, as in, are they not as on it? As in
his knowledge of the current music. You know what I mean? Like before, Fred Hammond will come over, everyone knows his latest album songs. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's on it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Things have changed. Things have changed. The way how prevalent gospel music used to be is not the same anymore. I think part of that might possibly. I mean, it's a theory that I could just think on now, but it's like, where music became digitized, that transition of church is very heavily invested in buying CDs, and that thing, that's the culture that gospel music kind of hinges its finances on and whatnot. So if there's no strategy to get music into certain places without a CD, then they are missing from culture. So here's a point. Here's a point. If you're not on social media as an artist or as an organization, institution, you probably don't exist to a wide audience. As in, like, you have to have some form of digital presence to be known and to be kind of prevalent. In certain people's minds in our generation.
Anyway. Cool. Yes, true.
In terms of previously, all you needed to have is like CDs, and posters are like things were more tangible. Now it's like, if you ask, say, like our little cousins and all that kind of stuff, even the question of who Fred Hammond is, they probably don't know. Like, as in, like, because Fred Hammond probably doesn't really have a focus on his digital presence in that way. As in, like, the social relevance of what we have now has changed. So it's like you have to have some form of a digital strategy to be relevant to a modern audience, modern demographic.
Yes.
So the older generation, they're only going to reference what they've known, which is from the CD era. So you're talking about the Winans, you're talking about Commission, you're talking about Fred Hammond and you know, whatever, and everyone knows Kirk Franklin, you know. But post those icons, who are they? It's a little bit blurry. There's like the prevalence isn't so strong anymore. So yeah, and I think that's part of another point for us as well. If we're talking about building the infrastructure, we've also got to think about building the digital strategy to support that.
Wow. No, for real. Keep it real. Yeah. No, 100%. And I think yourself, because I know you know, that's something that you're passionate about in terms of, you know, marketing and you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying, and I feel like, you know, we need to do things correctly, and we are moving forward, bro. There's going to be a few initiatives going to be kicking off in 2021, which definitely I want you guys to be plugging into, you know what I mean, for the industry, because we are going to be trying to check, not even trying, we are going to be changing things, because by hook or by crook, I think that 40-50 years of total going around the same roundabout, you know, when you're in your car, bro, and you miss the turning, you know what I'm saying, bro? Imagine doing that year after year, after 60, bro. There's a time where you're going, yo, we gotta get off, we gotta go forward now. You know what I'm saying? And I think COVID has led for everyone to actually sit down, stop, and go, yo, where are we really at? Where are we really at, man? You know what I'm saying? 100%. But bro, what I would say is again, salute you again for this great product. Thanks for chatting us about the sound, you know what I mean. Thanks for, you know what I mean, really educating, you know what I mean, myself and hopefully anyone who's listening in terms of how you get to sound, because like I said, it's interesting how I kind of like touch base about the Hillsong thing, but people already trying to discuss this, and I think that, you know, and thanks for being transparent about that, because, you know, end of the day still, you know, it's called, yo, don't criticize my sound, because again, 30-40 years ago, sounds were being criticized. Oh, you sound too, you like the Commodores or whatever they're saying, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So they got criticized by being influenced by all these. I heard them the other day, bro, in a great debate, bro. Man, we're talking about things like T-Rex. I'm like, the only T-Rex I know growing up was the T-Rex and you know what I mean, Godzilla, you know what I mean? That's all. So I'm like going crazy. So it's great. Everyone's been influenced by music, and an expression, and the expression of what God's done in our life comes from our influences, whatever special in our life. Now, just on the last question, bro. Yeah. So will we get a JC Henry album out as well? Is that 2022?
At some point, I mean, yeah, it's a good question, and to be fair, you're not the first person to ever ask that, of course.
Okay, cool.
But, yeah, I will be releasing some of my own music, just not right now. Cool. You know, but it is definitely going to be coming, that's for sure. And it's exciting because I think where I've been focused on Salient Sound as a team, building that has been my focus, but in the background I'm still writing, and I think the songs that's more suited for me as a soloist than it would be as for a worship team, like artist group. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, most definitely. But you know, still talking on the whole point of Salient Sound, I really do pray that people do go and listen to the song Stands, because, you know, and I say I wrote the song with one of the team members, worship team members, Lydia Sterling. She's actually from the Midlands as well. And she's an incredible worship leader, a fantastic songwriter as well. I wrote the song with her. And, you know, we wrote the song as a response to the injustice and uncertainty that really just was rocking the world in 2020, because last year was crazy. Yeah. You know, 2020 is going to go down in history. I'm sure our grandkids are going to ask us, like, what happened in 2020? I'm like, kids, buckle up. Gather around. Let me tell you about 2020. For real. You know. No. It's great. No, I get that vibe from the track. No, 100%. And I've well done on that, bro, because I do think people dodge the bullet with this dance to the injustice in general. For me, the Black-led church tried to kind of avoid talking about what happened in 2020 in the UK. They avoided the uncomfortable conversations. I feel like artists, and I have to say, you know, be blatant about it, I'm sick and tired of
of I call them politically correct songs that have been coming out. It's great to see us working together with all nations and coming together and doing projects together, when the real element is not beyond that. Things ain't changed. Yeah. Right. And no one's dealing, everyone's trying to pretty it over, so by 2021 we all forgot what happened in 2020. Sorry guys, I'm just letting you know, 2020 is done the dance. It's over. The conversation. And I believe somebody said to me, bro, I would say I was a baby of a generation. They were happy to be on the table. Right. But I believe going down to you guys, and now the youngers, they want to own the table. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking up to the guys just above me. They're happy to go, yeah, safe, man. Yeah, they're happy to be around that table of influence. But we want to be influencers now. You know what I mean? We're not happy with just being on the side. You know what I mean? So this is where I think they've ramped through the wrong generation. And I do salute you through this track. You brought out your heart through this year to connect to all the young people out there, because mental health is real. Physical health is real, and this is where a good worship track to start the day off, man, and meditate on the word is real and important. So definitely, bro. And one last thing, bro. So what's next for Salient Sound after this? I'm just always asking what's gonna happen next. Just get everyone prepped up, man. You know what I'm saying? Speak it into being, bro. Double album, live album.
What's next is that we'll be releasing another song.
Good.
And then another song. Good. And then,
yeah,
like the main thing is to really just, because we're just getting started.
Yeah, good.
We are just getting started, and the next thing really would be to release another song. The objective is to release an album. That's one of the things that we're definitely going to be doing. So yeah, it's exciting times. It's new, absolutely new to the church as well, as in like my home church in New Testament Church of God. But that's the next main thing. Yeah, another song. We've got songs, cool. We're gonna be recording more, gonna be writing more, and hopefully blessing more people. It has to go around the world. The objective is to go global, man.
No, 100%, guys, we can do this, man. And I think we're in an important country, London, and I think that we're a voice of the world, you know what I mean? And I think that a lot of artists have been successful from being successful in the UK. A lot of American artists, a lot of like Tina Turner, she wasn't really successful until she came and was successful in London, eventually broke out in the world. So we got to use, dare I say, London, man. We have to say, oh yeah, guys, I've made it, I'm from London. Oh my gosh, you are, you know what I mean? And go hard on that still, so salute you, bro, and keep at it, bro. And we're here, man. We got you back, and I'm gonna beat up all the other presenters. Make sure your stuff get played hardcore on Affinity Extra, just keep any help we can be. Just shout us out, big man, yeah, and whatever. So, guys, I'm gonna play Stand, the radio edit version, and there is a long version where you can just get into prayer and press and replay and go up and down and whatever there's still, yeah. So there's that going on. But listen, bro, salute you, bro. Thanks again for the convo, bro. Thanks again for the time, and I salute you, bro, and keep up doing what you're doing, big man, yeah.
Bless you, bro.
Blessings, man. Blessings.